Hey guys, Andy here. So I love it when fitness and tech overlap. These days it seems like the kind of ideal place for me to be. For those that don't know me, I took up cycling about 3 years ago. I'm a cyclist, but I do still go to the gym once or twice a week. And every now and then I go for a bit of a run. Maybe I'll run to the gym, or if it's raining, rather than cycling, I might go for a quick 5K or something. So with this in mind, Whoop seemed the ideal product for me to check out. I couldn't ignore it any longer. I think I'd often looked at it and just thought it was too expensive, but I just felt, I need to take a look at this product. Now I'm taking my fitness. I don't know if I started taking it seriously. No, I guess I am taking it seriously. I thought I probably should check it out. So this video is the first of two and will be kind of an introduction to Whoop, the sort of the setup or the unboxing and the setup, and it's kind of what it's about. The second video, which I'm going to do in a week or two's time probably, will be kind of the actual review. Do I think it's worthwhile? What do I get from it? So this one, just to be very clear, this one is just a bit of an intro, a bit of a first look in some ways, even though I've now been using the Whoop for, 2 weeks or so now. It is just a bit of an intro. So with that in mind, let's get on with it. So who are Whoop? Well, they're an American-based company in Boston, in fact, because the three founders all went to Harvard. It was actually founded in 2012, which I would not have guessed it was that old a company. The name Whoop came from the phrase that one of the founders used to say before big games in college. I don't know, what's a good reason or a good way to name a company or a product is as good as any other. I suppose it's quite a catchy name, I think, in some ways then. The actual product itself was launched in 2015. We're now on the fourth iteration, with the iterations coming out in 2015, 2016, 2019, and 2021. There's obviously no screen on the device. All you do get is a battery indicator LED, although to be honest, that's not always that reliable, and you're often just better off just looking at the battery in the app, to be honest. One of their selling points is that it accumulates more data than any of its peers. So there's loads of different ways of tracking your fitness, be it watches or actual fitness trackers, step counters, whatever. Its 5 sensors collect 100 megabytes of data per user per day. That sounds like quite a lot, actually, because data doesn't take up a lot of space. Video and photos take up some space, but data, so 100 meg a day. I'm quite curious as to how it's taken up that much data, to be honest. But and all this data, because there's no screen, it's all displayed in the app rather than on the device itself. You may have heard of Whoop because of pro athletes. There's a lot of pro athletes use the product. So LeBron James, Michael Phelps, Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, Patrick Mahomes, Kevin Durant, Eli Manning, those last three, they're obviously quite American-based, but they're all actually invested in the product, so clearly they believe in it. So that might be why you might have seen one before or heard of it before, because of one of these big pros uses it. If we talk about briefly sort of the ordering process, so you can only order it from Whoop. You can't get it from Wiggle or Amazon or wherever. You have to order it from their website. It is a subscription base, so you're not really buying the product, you're buying a subscription and the product comes with it. I think you get free upgrades, but I think it might be based on when you paid and how long you've been paying and stuff like that. It is cheaper the longer you subscribe. If you do it monthly, I think you were looking at £30 a month. My initial best option was to go for a 2-year period. That would have been £20 a month. So I'd have paid £4.80 up front and that would have covered me for 2 years. I think I was a little concerned, I don't even know this product yet. Do I really want to dive in for a 2-year commitment? So I went with the 1-year commitment, which was £288, which is £24 a month. Having said that, I've got the Honey plugin. I'll try and remember to link to my Honey video or my money saving on the internet video. And that just pulled a code out of nowhere. I think it was vegan 15, and that saved me 15%. So not only on my strap, but on not only the product, the Whoop, but also on the strap that I bought. I got 15% off. So pretty good buy, to be honest. There is something called Whoop Pro, which is another £12 a month. You get like a free item every 3 months. And it didn't seem too, if you get a free product every 3 months, or a free product every £36, and the products, are we talking like sort of the special clothing garments they've got? So it might be a strap, a bicep strap, or it might be a pair of shorts that the band fits into, or two pack of underpants that the band fits into. Most of those are more than £36. So if you are thinking of buying some of those products, then maybe Pro isn't a bad idea. I don't like things on my wrist, so the original product comes in a wristband. I don't like things on my wrist, so I went with the bicep band, and I'm really glad I did. Honestly, a lot of the time I forget I'm wearing it. I have to kind of check, oh yeah, I've got it on. And I almost intentionally picked a smaller t-shirt so that it was visible, because a lot of the time you can't see it, you wouldn't know that it was there. The Whoop body are the products that I sort of mentioned, where you get sort of underwear, shorts, shirts, waterproof armbands, although the product itself I think is waterproof, so I'm not quite sure the necessity for that. I suppose if you're diving below certain levels, you might want the waterproof armband. They're all quite pricey though, like a 2-pack of pants was, I forget now, £40 or £50. So if you were to be replacing all of your pants, that's 3 pairs of pants I've got to replace. No, not really. I've got more than 3 pairs of pants, but it's going to get quite pricey, right? Or you can do shorts or shirts, but again, you almost wish there was some way of retrofitting it into the stuff you already own, but maybe they'll come up with something like that. So I ordered mine on a Sunday afternoon, and it came Wednesday, I think. So I don't think that was too bad. Could be quicker, but it was in a massive rush, I suppose. And then let's move on to sort of the unboxing. So they come in quite sort of plain black cardboard boxes. I guess environmentally friendly is the sort of feel you get. You tear to open the box, but then you've kind of torn the box open. There's nothing really to keep, so you can't really sort of, I don't know, keep the box and store it. But again, maybe that's just encouraging recycling, I suppose. The item, the sensor itself comes in, as I think I mentioned initially, a wrist strap, but it's easy enough to remove from the wrist strap to put into whatever else you might have. It's quite clever how it charges. So you get a battery that you charge via USB Type-C, but then you slide the battery onto the sensor, the device, while you're still wearing it, and it basically charges wirelessly, which I thought was quite clever. So I actually don't think, no, I have taken it off once, but only for like less than a minute. Apart from that, I wear this in the shower, I wear it to sleep, wear it everywhere. The idea being you keep it on the whole time. So even when you're charging, you just slide this battery onto it and it charges. Quite clever. Then obviously you've got to pair it to the app on your phone. And through the sort of onboarding process, you do answer some questions about, you give it your own personal details, but then about what you're looking to achieve to help it, because the idea being it will sort of generate you its own coach and telling you what to do. The subscription starts once you've paired the device to your phone/app. So before we dive into the app and a bit of a look around it, what I would say is make sure you update the firmware of both the sensor and the battery. So the sensor itself, you're going to go into the app, it's going to say, I think, you've got a firmware update. So you go, yeah, go on then. But the battery, I don't think there's any way of it telling you. And I didn't really know this, which is the battery. And then I was having some problems trying to charge. It wasn't going past 50% basically. And I did a quick bit of a Googling, and yeah, I was on version 1 of the firmware. There's basic software on my computer I had to download. And it told me, yeah, you're on version 1, there's version 2.1 available. Oh, well, let's update it then, please. Bear in mind, it keeps sort of letting you update the same firmware over and over again if you want to. So when you've done it and it's sort of the latest, don't bother checking again, because it'll still say, yeah, you can run the update again if you want. And you run it again, it's going, yeah, still 2.1. So just, yeah, run it the once and then be happy. So this is the app. Also, it takes time to calibrate. So not all of the stuff is even calibrated now. It takes 4 recoveries. So in other words, 4 nights for it to start doing things, but some things take even longer. But we can still, that doesn't stop us from having a look at what we've got in the app at the moment. In fact, if we go into my profile, it will tell me somewhere, I think, how many recoveries I've done. Level 3, look, 12 recoveries. There's kind of a leveling up process, more and more recoveries. Unlock, I don't think it really means anything. It's just kind of, I don't know, a way for you to track how many you've done. There's also kind of a tutorial bit. So this here, Learn from the experts. It's telling me to let's go, and it'll open up. Oh, in this particular case, it's just taking some communities. So you can join. I joined the London community, men's 40 to 50, and road cyclists. And I don't know, you can just see how active other people are. Oh, I'd have beat that yesterday. Oh no, I was 18.9 maybe. Oh, I'd have been in the top 2 or 3 yesterday. But then I suppose lots of people were out yesterday, and I think I was 12th actually in London, which isn't bad. Anyway, back to the profile. So you see now that's moved on to explore our web app, and basically you unlock more and more bits and pieces, and I don't know what's going to happen when I complete that. I'll probably know by the time we get to the review, I suppose. But I think that's quite good. It's a good way of just sort of taking you through different tutorials. Let's come back to the sort of main app, and there's 4 different areas, and then obviously there's this is sort of the settings, and that's just the menu really. So come back to the first main screen. If we turn it sideways, it took me a little while to realise how I check my heart rate on the go, and you have to turn it sideways. So again, we go upright and it goes to the normal screen. We turn it sideways, completely different screen. So you can see I went out for a bit of a walk at lunchtime. You can see my sleep information. I think if I tap, oh no, so yeah, it just gives us the heart rate for the different times. So I went out for a walk at lunch, but apart from that, I've been sat on my backside, every now and then getting up for a coffee. That's probably what these little spikes are. We can see the breakdown of any activities. Now, activities do auto-detect, and they're generally quite clever in knowing what you're doing. Or you can tell it, right, I'm starting a new activity, and you can tell it what you're doing and tell it to start, which is fine. Or you can retroactively, after the fact, you can go back and tell it, oh, I was running then. So it detects by, I think it's either 15 minutes or 20 minutes of elevated heart rate, and then it tries to work out what the activity is that you're doing. But for example, I was cycling yesterday, and I forget, it just sort of said activity. So I just went in afterwards, so I can go into this one, for example, and I can edit it and tell actually I was weightlifting, I was playing Australian football. And there's quite a long list of, I don't think it particularly matters if I was playing rugby or if I was playing softball, because it's just all about your heart rate rather than the actual activity. It's not doing one is more strenuous than another, because if it's more strenuous, your heart rate's going to be higher. So it doesn't need to know that it was a more strenuous activity. It can tell how strenuous your activity was. It always gives you a strain score on your activity, but it doesn't. It's not a linear score. So if I go for 3 different walks, it's not going to go for 8, 12. You got 12 points of strain today, because it's on like a curve. So it's really easy to score the first 5. I think I scored 1 point something just packing the car when we were on holiday. It wasn't a particularly strenuous. It was a 20-minute walk. Scored 4. And actually, if I go back to yesterday, it's going to be a good example, because it was one cycling trip, but I stopped twice for coffee and cake, as you have to. So the first one I scored 13, the second one I scored 15.4, and the last one 13.5. But my total score, can you see that, was 19.7. Because each one, they don't stack, as I say, linear fashion. It stacks along a graph. So even the higher you go, it just pushes you further on the graph, but you don't gain the strain points of the one activity. I don't know if that makes sense, and maybe I can find an image of the graph that I can overlay at this point, which will help it make a bit more sense. So this is the main screen. We can swipe up though to get more information, and that happens on each of the different screens we're going to go through. But so this is my general overview. That's the amount of sort of strain, the blue line, and the green line is my recovery, which we'll come to in a second, I suppose. Multiple days below optimal strain, targets for recovery to maintain. So it always gives you some kind of like coaching and advice at the top here. If we go over to strain, last week was strenuous. You averaged 14.1. They say my average is higher than that, which is interesting. Mind you, I did have the week before. Can I go to the week before? Yeah, I suppose I can go in this way. There we go. Oh, yeah, I'm surprised that it was a lesser week. Anyway, then we go on to recovery. Oh, we're still on last week. Come forward. So I've had a really good week recovery-wise. Yesterday, not so good. We tap on it, we can get the actual numbers. So it's saying I'm not in as good shape today, and that's why I'm having a bit of a rest today. But we can see that there. We see some numbers down the bottom, and we can tap on each one of these. I think it does get a little bit complicated. So from the main screen, we've got overview, strain, recovery, sleep. And then inside some of these, you've got different metrics. And this thing, it's for someone like myself who loves numbers and loves stats and loves metrics, there's so much of it. So coming back to strain, we've got the actual strain, we've got my average heart rate for the day, we've got the calories burnt for the day. Onto recovery again, my heart rate variance is one of the big sort of almost selling points of Whoop. So not only is about your heart rate per minute being a valuable metric, it's the gap between each heart thing. If that varies more, apparently that's a good thing. It means your body's in a better place to deal with strain. If it just does the same gap each time, that's not a good thing apparently, and that means you're a bit knackered and your body's not ready. Respiratory rate, that's up a bit because I had an active weekend, to be fair. We come over onto sleep. So the percentage bit on the sleep here is, it thinks I need 9 hours sleep and I got 7 hours sleep or whatever. Therefore, I scored 74% in sleep. In fact, that shows it a bit more there, like hours I got versus hours that I need. Time in bed might be handy, which is different to recovery, which is just how ready your body is for activity. And we can see these at the top. And again, you swipe down to get the... So then we move on to the next tab, which is kind of the coaching tab. And again, it gives us some insight. Sort of saying go to 10.8 to get to the optimal. Obviously, if I want to recover, I'm not going to go that high. It's telling me I should be in bed by 10:45 if I want to wake up by 7. And then this bit down here is quite interesting, I think. So this is a bad day, but everything's green. I find that a little weird. So my resting heart rate is up. Normally it's in the low 40s. It's up at 51, but it's still giving me green and a tick. You're close. It's nearby. Same with all these other things. The heart rate variability is down quite a long way on what it has normally been. But it's still saying, yeah, that's okay. Because green is anything from 68 and above. So if I'd been a bit lower, it would have been amber. Skin temperature is another thing it monitors, and blood oxygen, which is actually up on a bit on what I've normally been, to be fair. So that's good. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things in there. We do get a weekly report. I'll probably go more into these, I think, in the review, but it just kind of gives you a bit of a look back on how your last week was. Eventually maybe. I've not been using it long enough to get a monthly report yet. I don't know, I can be bothered to wait for this. I'll maybe just try and show you in the review. So this third tab is like a live view. I'm not really sure why you would use this, but you can sort of point at it yourself and take a picture with the metrics on the screen. I don't really know. Let me know in the comments if anyone knows if there's a better reason for that being there. And then I think I kind of showed you this community tab with also some sort of news items and things along there. You get recommended teams, although I think I joined anyone that was recommended. There's a couple more. Great Britain, look. Or Discover More. Collapse. And then into... And actually, I would say, so I will try and remember to leave my code or link or whatever in the video description if you're going to give this a go. I mean, first of all, I would say, well, wait for my review. Wait another week or two for me to give the actual review. But if you want to give it a go, please do use my link, because I think you get a free month, I get a free month. I'm surprised. I did put some on Strava down. I'm thinking of trying Whoop. And I thought some of my friends, I know at least one of them's got Whoop. I thought he might go, yeah, use my link. I didn't realise until I signed up, there is a benefit to being referred. Some device settings, we can see that the battery's at 41, etc. Oh, so you can broadcast your heart rate. So if you want to use this as the heart rate monitor for Strava or anything else, you can set it up to do like that. And again, in the review, I'll be looking at sort of the accuracy and all that kind of thing. So I think on integrations, you can link it in to Strava. So when I went for my walk and I finished activity, it synced it to Strava with the heart rate and all that kind of thing. And you can, when you're doing your activity, turn it on so that it tracks your GPS position through the phone, not the device, through the phone. But you can't link in external heart rate monitors. I think it was DC Rainmaker moaning about it, basically saying, let me use my chest strap. For activities, let me use my chest strap. Fine one, just day to day, just general monitoring, but chest straps are still the most accurate way of doing it. Let me use that. And you can't. And again, I would have thought you could have linked it in through the app if you were then recording your activity through the app, well, let me connect my chest strap to the phone. It shouldn't be a limit of the device itself because you could do it to the phone, surely. Anyway, so I think that's everything for the sort of the introduction and the overview. If you have any specific questions or things you want me to cover in the actual review, leave them in the comments down below. I do read all of the comments. I think I've covered everything though, so hopefully that's answered a few questions. As I say, the actual review will be in a week or two's time. I'm already sort of working on that, but that will come soon. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But for now, my name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon.